Discussing money on the channel has become something of a rather dirty word, just like crevice or job for that matter. However, it is the end of 2023, we're now into 2024, which means that it is the annual tradition to sit down and figure out exactly just how much have I spent over the course of the last year, and yeah, brace yourself, this is going to be quite a heavy one, I would imagine.
$1 million.
Normally, as is the tradition, these normally get filmed sitting in Scarlett, and well, as you know, she hasn't been here since September. It's now January the 2nd that I'm filming this on. It really would be quite nice if we had Scarlett available on the driveway to film the rest of this video, wouldn't it? Yes, it's not a green screen, nor is it footage from earlier on in the year. Scarlett's back! Huzzahs are in order and whatnot. Doesn't she look resplendent again being back here? So, yes, I thought I might as well just let the cat out of the bag. I picked her up on the 30th of December, but whoa, calm yourself. She still doesn't have an MOT, and there's still one or two jobs to be done, but yeah, she had to come back here just so we could film this video. Then she'll go back in a couple of weeks, hopefully after I get an MOT on her. But yeah, it feels right to be here, I'll be honest. Didn't enjoy the drive over, just purely because it was pitch black, raining, and yeah, living in fear of being stopped by Claude, which really didn't want that happening. So thankfully it didn't. We're here now, and yes, we can get into this. So, another year of fiscal squandering of many pounds is in the books, and I have said book here complete with the usual fetching diamond encrusted pen for this year. I wondered where the rest of my money went. That'll be what it went on. And we've got a new diary. When I say new, it's an old one. Yes, I'm a, well, I'm going to say a Doctor Who fan, but let's not go down that road, shall we? Less said about that, the better. I have the list. It's all here. Literally everything that I've spent this year, every single part, every nut and bolt, it's all listed on this. We'll go through it in a minute, but it's a lot. Like, I mean, it's a lot. It's 2 full pages of parts, and that's me whittling some of it down into categories. So there is spend in this that is like all nuts and bolts, so various different bolts that I had to buy at different times, clips to hold on the panels underneath the car, that sort of thing. They've all been put into one big total, rather than sitting here going, well, we had the clip for the front right side where it had to be connected, that cost 43 pence. Then we had the bolt for the bonnet connection, that was 45 pence. You get the idea. So we're not going to be sitting doing all that. I've got all that all worked out, and as usual, I have no idea what the entire cost is. It's all down here, but there is no full-on total. I haven't written anything down yet. I haven't calculated any of it out, so I get to have me guess before we get started. Now, we need to get the sparkly pen. I already know how much the rust treatment has cost. I've got that invoice, and it's mostly paid. So, based on what I can see on this sheet here, I'm going to go for, and this is purely on Scarlett cost this year, my guess will be 4,000. I'll go for 4,000 600, right, roughly in that ballpark. Feel free to have a guess just now before we get stuck into this. And as always, as I say every year, if you enjoy a drink, get one. This is going to take a bit of time. And if you are indeed a vaping nasty business habit, get one of those as well. I'm not going to do it just now because it absolutely fogs out. So let's begin. We've got to go all the way back to very early doors in the year. An issue that Scarlett has long since had, not just with Rust, is the battery. It has let me down time and time again, from getting stuck in a Tesco filling station to almost getting stuck in places such as Aberfoyle, which, you know, when you're out in the middle of nowhere on the Dukes Pass, can get quite remote. And where else did it almost let me down? Or in fact, it did let me down actually in all these locations, because I had to buy a booster, which cost £30 and saved my bacon on several occasions. It also saved me at Abington as well, when we went down there to film the best drive of 2022. Scarlett wouldn't start. When I got to that car park at the services, before even filming anything, she wouldn't start. Booster pack had to come out then. Then I stupidly done half of that drive and stopped to do some of the drone shots, forgetting that if I turned the car off, it wouldn't start. And at that point, I hadn't charged the booster properly, and I thought when I started her again at Abington, there was barely enough to get her to tick over. So when I pressed the button and it said it only had 2 little lights left, I thought, oh no, it's not going to start the car. And it was only showing like 11 amps or something. So anyway, long story short, it did actually do it again. After that, I thought, right, we need to buy the battery. So, first major purchase of 2023 was indeed a battery and a high-level brake bulb, which I stupidly thought would be one of the only reasons that Scarlett would fail an MOT. It came to the grand total of £141.78. That's for both the battery and the high-level brake light. And that also includes tax and whatnot have you on that order. Some of these orders, the tax is not included in the actual full total for the part. Some of them it is. I'll tell you when it is, like tax for parts. Next thing after that, this has just been 2023 has been horrendous, like, honest to God. Sometimes I wonder how I'm still sane. Maybe that's why I eventually relented and said, let's just get a dog. Because when you think about everything that's went wrong this year, Jesus. So the battery was done, and then I took Scarlett out, and there was a small bit of grinding coming from the clutch again, and I thought, can't be the bearing this time, what the hell's going on? Came out to go for a drive in, was it February? Roughly, round about then, and clutch pedal went straight to the floor, nothing happening, wouldn't go into gear, reverse, nothing. The clutch master and the slave cylinder, both of them kaput. So, well, one of them was kaput, but when you're changing one, change them both, and then that way it's all done at the one time. That was a race against time because the MOT was booked in April and I didn't have the money because I'd just bought the battery in February. So it was a nightmare. But that cost £83.40. And lo, at that point, I thought, yeah, Scarlett's going in for MOT now. She'll get a minor for the hole and whatnot have you. Then, you know, as we know, the rest is history. She failed on that rather alarming list, and so begins the cost for everything on rust repair. We're going to start with basically the actual rust treatment products and the paint. I've grouped it all together. So for Hammerite Q Rust, how much did I spend on that? How many bottles? Quite a few. £63.90 worth of Hammerite Q Rust was purchased. That's quite a bit. Genelite Rust, this was a mistake, purchased buying that. However, we did get to see how shite it was in comparison to Q Rust. That came in at a hefty £32.99. That was quite a mistake. Should have returned that and got my money back, but at that point, stressed out my nut, didn't have the time, so kept it, and I've still got 2 full bottles of it, which I think I'm going to find somewhere to dispose of them because I'm never going to use it. And the paint. This is for all the paint, so basically any of the underseal, the brakes, what was it, not the brake shields, the caliper brackets, all of that, all the paint for all those bits. That came to £194.46. It's quite a bit for paint, for rattle cans. £194.46 worth of rattle cans. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a bit. I can't, you know, there's no two ways about that. That's quite a lot. All in all, that looks close to £300 spent on paint and stuff to paint on for dealing with rust. Jeez, oh. Anyway, moving on to the hard parts now. The actual physical things that you see makes the difference. Obviously, this is all part of the front suspension. This was the first major order that I had to make. So I knew that Scarlett's front was pretty much worn out, and I thought, if we're ripping it all apart, we might as well try and replace as much of it as possible. So we start off, tie rod ends. Those were £15.04 each. Times 2 of them was £30.08. Ball joints, those were £29.89 each, and that brought up to £59.78 for the 2 ball joints. Cap hub nuts. This is the caps, the actual hub nuts that go on. Those were £3.19 each, £6.38. Next up, the wheel hubs themselves, which was something I wasn't expecting to have to buy, to be honest. So hub and bearing, quite reasonable actually when you think about it, £26.85 each, and that came in at a grand total of, have I messed this up? Oh, I've messed that up. Scrap that. Right, I figured out VAT was on top of that one, so that's £72.92. That's why that's what it is in the end, with VAT on top. Anti-roll bar bush and mount, that was £22.40, so that's for the 22 quid for a piece of rubber. Blooming heck. You can buy an 8-pack of those in the supermarket, I would imagine, for less. Front lower suspension arm, those were £69.95 each, times 2, £139.90, and then we've got track rod ends, £19.91, times 2, £39.82, and there's 2 order taxes on these because this is basically 2 orders worth. So first tax was £23.09, second tax was £75.25, and there is 3 items in there that had the tax already included on them. So that is literally all the front suspension parts. A lot. Again, moving on, this is painful. Discs and ultimate pads. This was for, pretty sure, yeah, this is for all round, all 4 corners. £183.06, that is. Brake disc covers, that's the, I think that's for the heat shields, because I was trying to be cheap, and I was trying to hold on to the old ones on the front, but they were nasty. So I bit the bullet and bought brand new ones to put on. You would not believe how much these 2 pieces of metal cost. £59.90. That's all in for the 2 of them. It might have been worth trying to just keep the old ones, but they were totally rotten. I mean, completely rotten. There was not very much that you could do with that, in all honesty. It was like totally gone. Spring kit. This is the kit that I fitted incorrectly on the rear. We won't talk about that, we'll move straight away from that. Just to keep the pads away from the discs. Those are £10.81 each, 2 of them £21.62, and we have an order tax on top of that one, £57.82. We're getting there. Where are we now? We'll move on to assorted bolts. This is like everything that I needed. So if it was small bolt packs that were needed to replace certain things in the wheel arches or whatnot. There's quite a lot of them, and they came in at £93.68. That's literally like bags of bolts that I've bought from the various different places, from all the usual Autolink MX5 parts, all that sort of stuff, replacing the long bolts and whatnot have you, all of that stuff. So yeah, adding that all up, £93.68 worth of bolts. Oh, and that's me still not throwing them all away. Less said about that, the better. Right, where are we now? On to the rear, which is where I started to penny pinch for the year. You can't really blame me when you see that on this page alone, you know, come on. Bush set IL Motorsport lower set for the rear. That's £134.52 for you, sir, or madam, or whatever you want to make yourself to be. And the upper ones were £106.49. Now, someone did say to me, why did you not just buy the new arms for the rear? Because obviously the paint cost would have been less. A good point, now that I see the actual total for paint spend was £194. However, I've still saved money by rescuing the old rear suspension arms, because essentially, right, I would still have had to buy the bushings, so they were 134 plus 106, so that's 240 quid for the bushings. Then you've also got the replacement arm cost, which are ludicrously expensive on the rear. I suppose it's because it's a lot of metal that's in them. They are, I think, off the top of my head, don't quote me, but they're about 100 and odd each. That's for the lowers. The top ones, because there's not a lot of metal on them, they're not as expensive, but you would have been looking at about £500, I think, to replace both corners on the rear. I did not and do not have that amount of money, unfortunately, to do that now. At some point in the future, maybe I'll replace it and I'll get bushings professionally seated, rather than me spending 2 days of my life swearing like an absolute mentalist at it. But yeah, something to worry about in the future, as long as she gets her an MOT now, I don't care. Next up was the alignment bolts. Did this separately because I had to buy a lot of them. So there's the alignment bolts. This is including front and rear. So you've got obviously the alignment that goes into all the four corners. Those were, again, now this is like all odds and sods bolts, was £93.68 for for alignment bolts only. £96.18. Yep. And we have an order tax as well, which was £68.28. So that was for the first order on the rear. Next one up was the one that, well, I didn't really want to do it, but I done it anyway, because it was in such bad condition. The rear calipers, they were rotten. They got replaced. They were £140 all in. Then the rear pad fitting kit, that was £7.15 times 2. This is the one that I fitted incorrectly. Don't talk about it. £14.30. Brake hose braided kit, the IL Motorsport ones, that's the braided lines all round, £129.95. And we have an order tax on top of that. Way! It's £68.98 this time. I need a break for a moment. I've also got to cry at the amount of goddamn tax that you've got to pay. This is a bit of a fucking shambles. I'm quite glad though, going back a minute, to just how much I have saved by not doing brand new all on the rear. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd like to replace the half shafts, everything. I'd love to do the lot, but it just it's impossible, to be honest. So, back to it. I'm going to fog out for a minute though, because I'm stressed out now that we've got this far into it, and I am quite... So, let's get back to it. Rear hub nut bolts. Now, obviously, I know I said that I'd done all the assorted shit up, but I might have closed the calculator that I was calculating it all up on, and then I couldn't be arsed having to sit there and do it all again. So these ones are rear hub nuts, lower, 2 of them, £8.12. Rear hub bolts were an alarming £25.40. The drop link bolts were £10.72. The rear hub upper nut, they were £10.28, and then there was an order tax on that of £17.69 for fucking bolts. That's 25, 40, that's another 50 quid on bolts. All in, that's looking like, what's that, 93? 93 plus, where's the rest of them? That's another 50, so let's say that's 140-ish, plus another 100, so that's fucking loader. Yeah, maybe my estimate of £4,000 is going to be a little bit off the mark here again this year. I thought I was overestimating it this year. Sorry, fogging up. Fuck. I'll open the door. I'll be right back. This is the one that really annoyed me because it pained me that I had to spend this money. Front calipers. For the set, they were £129.85. I was furious about doing them, but it was that thing of, I kind of fucked it, so I had to change one of them, and I thought, when in Rome, just do them both, because you've done the rears, so you might as well do the front ones as well. So a pair for the rear was £140, for the front it's £129.85. That includes heat-haw for fitting it, brake line clips. I don't know why I bothered buying them, because, to be honest, I don't think I really used them. They were £10, £2 each. Then there's the brake pipe kit, the hardline kit, which, to be fair, wasn't a bad day's work, that. If I'm being honest, it actually went okay for the most part, apart from having to go and buy more spannels that I really didn't want to buy. That cost £116.85, and I still have a tube to fit, which I haven't fitted. More on that story later. And then we've got the bolt alignment rear, £57.50. And that is everything that I've got written down here. That isn't tools. I have included tools this year because, well, there was quite a few things that needed to be bought in order to make this happen within a year, rather than over 3 years, or me ending up selling the car for parts. So let's get into them then, shall we? Hub nut impact set, that was £32.95. That was to get basically to get a 29mm socket that would sit on the hub nuts to get them off. That cost me £32.95. Oh, just for one fucking socket. One socket, £32.95. Wire wheels, for all the many hours of making an absolute mess of it, was £25. That's not too bad, to be honest. If I could do it again, I would go and buy something completely different, although it escapes my mind right now, but it's a different type of wire brush that you can get that goes on to I think it's a disc sander. I'd rather do that than do it on a drill again any day, because that was just, that was the pits. All of that was horrible. That was probably the nastiest couple of days doing all this work, was basically that. It was minging, and I was minging, and everything was minging, and the camera was minging it when I was finished. Everything was just disgusting at the end of it, and you're like, ugh. And I was dragging stuff into the house, and it's like, Mrs. was getting angry, and you're like, well, you know, I'm saving money here in the long run, but it was just, no, I really, really, really don't ever want to do that again. People who do that for a living, honestly, I doff my cap, because it's a horrible job to do. It really is. I had to buy a replacement torque wrench to obviously do up all the bolts, because my old one was fucked, and that came in at £49.99. Yes, I didn't go for something super duper, but I just went for something that will get the job done, because again, had to start watching the pennies later in the year. I bought a pipe bender. That was a waste of money. Didn't really use it for more than, I think, 2 bends in total. That was £18.99. I had to buy the metric flare spanners. Those were £18.95. That was to do the hard lines. And then probably the best single tool purchase of the year. The Makita Impact Wrench. That was £237. And do you know what? It is worth every single penny, because the amount of time that it saved throughout doing this entire job this year, it's probably the best spend, to be honest. If you don't own one and you're working on a car, trust me, get one. It makes such a difference. You do have to buy an impact socket set for it though, which I did, and that was £49.70 as well. So yes, there you are. That is the entire list. Now, I mean, honestly, I'm not that fussed by that, because it was necessary, it was needed, because I would have sat struggling on a lot of those nuts and bolts for hours. That thing just loosened them off like a knife through butter a lot of the time. Honestly, it did. It was incredible. You've seen it if you've watched the Crusty Diaries series. If you haven't, why not? Go and watch it now. And yeah, that concludes the list of all parts bought for this year. Do you want to know how much the rust repair cost? Well, I've got the bill here. I think what I'll do is I will tell you that last. Once it's all done, I'll add that on. So what I'll do is I will now sit here and I will add up everything that's on that list, and then we'll add on the rust repair bill on top of it at the very end. So yes, bear with me. I shall now do this, and I will get this all totted up. So, where's my calculator? Let's get some extremely deeply inappropriate music over the top of this while I speed this all up and work this out. And obviously, I'm going to try and not look at the total here, because it's not right to do that. So, clear the calculator. Wish me luck. Right, £141.78 plus 8 plus 8 plus 100 plus 2 Right, I am this far down on page 1. Oh, what was that? Fuck. £39. Yes, sorry. And I'm going to cover the screen now. From now on in, I'm going to cover this so I can't see what the final tally is. Plus 140 plus 140 plus 195 plus 38 plus 12 plus 25 plus 28 plus 50 plus 116 85 plus 10 plus 129 plus 195. I'm going to equals it, right? And you'll be able to see. I'm not going to look at it. I've got my thumb over it. I can't see it. This is how much I've spent on parts alone for this year. So that's equals. I think that's equals, right? This is what it is. I'm not going to look. And I'm going to quickly put my finger back over that. I can't see that. Good stuff. Right. That's how much I've spent on parts. Now, I said in total for 2023, I believe that the parts and the entire bill for how much the rust repair cost was going to come in at 4,600 roughly. So, how much was the rust repairs that were done by the magnificent Rusty Customs, who will get a proper shout out in another video, by the way, because the work he's done has been absolutely stellar. How much was it in total? Well, that was 2,850 quid for both arches, an extreme underseal, and trust me, that is with some amount of discount on top of it. I cannot sing the praises of Rusty Customs enough. As I say, in another video we'll go to town down the line. Now, what I need to do is I'm going to try and open the calculator back up with my thumb still over the thing. That's what it is. Right, thumb still over it. I can't see it. Let's add the two together, shall we? Plus, I don't want to do this. £2,850. Ready? I'm not. I'm going to press the equals button. Equals. I'm not looking. You should be there somewhere. Is it a lot? Because if it's a lot, I don't want to know. Right, I said 4,000. What did I say? 4,600? I think it is maybe a bit more than that. Now that I've actually seen that it went past the grand halfway down page 1. Oh, I don't want to look. I genuinely don't want to look. My stomach's going. Okay, let's do it. No. I could. Is that now, it's safe to say that's not £4,000. That's not even close to £4,000. That's £6,000 more or less. And to be honest, it probably is 6,000 because there's probably a few things that I haven't added that I've bought and forgot about. And that's with like wheeling and dealing and whatnot. That's £5,993.82. I'm a bit gutted now that we didn't pass 6k, but I think we pretty much have. Yeah, that's wow. So last year, the total spend for this included the channel, which I bought a lot of gear for, cameras and whatnot. The spend was £4,000. 2023 has blown that out of the water in parts and rust repair. Shite. That isn't it. I forgot the over. I forgot. Jazz Performance. I've bought the rails. It was me that bought them. Oh no. Hang on. Actually, I'm really shaking here. Jackson Racing? No, Jazz Performance. It wasn't Jackson Racing. It's Jazz Performance. Order was in December. How much was the order? well, I'm not disappointed anymore. We did pass 6 grand. I'd forgot about the MD rails because I only bought them in the 12th of December. I forgot that wasn't part of the Rusty Customs bill. I bought them and sent them to him, and he fitted them because he's just a fucking legend. Picture will have been on screen already, but I'll put it back up again. Yeah, they cost 130. Where's the email? £132.85. Yeah. So the grand total spent on Scarlett in 2023 was £6,000. And the rest? £6,126.67. I can't look at that. I can't look at that. It will be worth it in the long run. Oh my god. My missus is going to fast forward this video right to the end and she's going to flip. £6,000. I bought Scarlett for 3,900. Fucking 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. I have spent 3 Scarlett's worth of money on her now, just about. Oh my fucking god! I don't have anything else to say now. I was off again this year. For 2023. All I can say is that won't be happening in 2024. For God's sake, touch wood. There's no way I can afford to spend that kind of money again. I mean, the plan was always I was going to save up for it, and I was planning on saving up for it in 2023. But I wasn't planning on having to completely rebuild the underside of the car. And let's be honest now, I will talk about this in Scarlett's proper review video, right, at the end. I'm not going to say the end of the year. No, don't worry, there will be a video out before the end of 2024. I will do it on Scarlett's review, which will be probably in a month or so's time, because she's got to go back, she's got to get MOT'd. There's a few things still to be done, and then I'll need to obviously film a day out. I know I've been wanting to do this for months now, so I'll get that done, and I will give unbelievable props to Rusty Customs, because without him, couldn't have done it. I genuinely couldn't have done it. So Dale, thank you so much for everything that you've done. I cannot thank you enough. Honest to God, you've done way more than you probably should have, to be honest. So I would 110,000 trillion billion gazillion % recommend Rusty Customs. If you do indeed have a car that needs work, take it to him. Freundum Fairwood, the man works miracles, and I do mean miracles. As I said, I will go into that more in depth in a separate video. That I'll do hopefully roughly in about a month's time. I'm retraining, new job, etc. Stuff going on, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so I'm skipping over the point here that that's over 6 grand this fiscal year for Scarlett. It's definitely fiscal. Feels like it, for sure. And yeah, on that note, I think we'll call it quits. If you have been, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, hopefully there will be more videos out if I'm still alive by the time I upload this. Oh my god. Yeah, take care and all that. I hope you have an absolutely smashing start to 2024. I'm probably going to now go and get smashed for the first time in about 4 years since I've had a drink. Yeah, on that note, take care, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. 6 grand. Patreon, we're going to start a Patreon! Oh, fuck. Go away. What have I done? Dun 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 da 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 da. Hello in there. Oh God. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Shirley Temple.